Many thanks for staying with us. It's still the conversation, and today we're discussing a topic at the heart of Nigeria's economic future: Lagos as economic melting pot. Lagos State stands as Nigeria's commercial nerve center, contributing roughly a quarter of the nation's GDP and serving as home to over 20 million people from every corner of Nigeria and beyond. Yet, despite significant investment by successive governments, the state continues to grapple with some challenges. Joining us to have this conversation this morning is Taiwo Olopade. Is it Olopade? Olapade. Taiwo Olapade. He's a journalist and social affairs commentator, and is a friend of the house, and he's also my brother. You're welcome.
Thank you so much, ma.
Okay, today what we call Lagos the melting pot. Some say melting point. Is melting pot. What exactly does this mean?
Well, we are talking about the convergence of people in a mega city in which everyone finds opportunity, particularly economic opportunity, because whether you like it or not,
no matter where you're from,
except if you are lazy, that you not find something to do and earn
legit,
genuine, illegal, illegit living in Lagos, except you are lazy, sincerely. And I'll quickly cite an instance, if you permit me. I was at my 12 market yesterday to do shopping for
UK.
Yes. We know we talk. We will eat and also receive visitors, whether you like it or not, in the spirit of the season. And if you see the crowd moving in, moving out, and I was driving, I was so I was I have to be very cautious because I don't want to run on people's leg. The way people are coming like ants, I was afraid. And I was telling my wife that thank God that we came today. I didn't mean we had to come to, and yesterday rather. If we had waited till today or tomorrow, imagine on a Monday. Now let's quickly do this shopping. It took us even to drive into the market, to find a space to park, to find a space to shop. It was like everybody in Lagos was at my 12 market yesterday, and that's what we are saying. And everybody was making brick business. People who are even selling pure water. If you see the rate of turnover of their products, you know, is unimaginable, is unbelievable, and that's exactly what Lagos as a mega city represents.
Okay, I like the way you started that. Lagos as a mega city attracts people from all over, and they can do business. You know,
Nigeria alone,
from all over, and
So
how does this constant population growth now affect the economic planning of a state?
Well, like you also rightly said, Lagos is also growing geometrically, meaning that because of the nature of Lagos as a state where most economic activities of the country, just like you said in your introductory remark, the GDP of Lagos, we know how much of the country rather, we know how much Lagos
is contributing
in this regard. So everybody believes that as soon as I come into, if you go to Beggar, if you see the way at this moment, because this is also a peak period, particularly for commerce, selling and buying and the like, just as I cited the Mine 12 market, the same thing is applicable to major markets, whether you go to Mushin, Ojuwoye, Idumota, Balogun, you cannot even find a space to walk, rather than talking about driving your car. People are shopping, and the way people are shopping, you can imagine the way it's also contributing to socio-economic development of Lagos and Nigeria at large. So whether we like it or not, Lagos remain what it is, and it's a big challenge, sincerely, for those the handlers of the state. I'm talking about the governor. Because when we are talking about providing infrastructural facilities that will meet the demands of this population that is growing geometrically, it becomes so difficult, whether you like it or not. But that doesn't mean that it's not doable.
Okay. Recently, traffic congestion has become really bad. It was something we even talked about before we started the show.
People are more on the road, particularly some offices are closed. for the end of the year.
Okay.
They are to resume maybe first week or second week in January. So people are now moving, whether you like it or not, where it is dirty December. And no one will, definitely no one will like to be left behind in also this celebrating mood, this joyous mood, whether you like it or not, that's why the road is also very busy. I spoke about earlier on going on a Monday, and you see the traffic on the road, traffic inward my 12 market, and also for major markets in the state. You'll be wondering what exactly is going on. So that shows what Lagos represents. And like I said, I know it's a big challenge for providing infrastructure, because whether we like it or not, the infrastructure that we have cannot really meet the growing demands of the population of Lagos State. But it is not it is not something like we can say it is doable. Because I can also say the money is there for the governor to spend. Okay. But it now depends on how we're also spending this money wisely to cater for the priority needs of residents of Lagos and those who also come to do commerce, buying and selling, as the case may be. Because
the reason why I asked that question is that, you know, this, you mentioned Dirty December, is something that's been recurring in the last 2-3 years. And, you know, we all know what happens. What should now government do ahead again in order to solve this traffic issue? Because it is really, really a major thing in Lagos, especially this season.
For traffic, a few weeks ago, I had an interactive session with Honorable Ladi Balogun of Lag Ferry. And he made us he told us that the government already planned ahead of the Dirty December, because they also anticipated a huge number of crowd or people coming to Lagos for either the Christmas or the New Year celebration. So they're already planning ahead, because whether we like it or not, what has been a major challenge in the country, be it at the federal, state, or even local government level, is that we are not proactive. We are only very reactive to issues. It is when the issues are now coming, you know, staring us at the face, that will now start this accelerated, you know, pragmatic solution. We must plan ahead. We must proactive. And what Honorable Ladi Balogun said was that the government has also increased the number of ferry stations, the ferry and the jetties rather, for people to commute over the sea, because Lagos is also blazed with water. You know, how much of land do we have? We have
but it's not everybody that they're at a place where they can travel through water.
Yes, so I'm saying that instead of all of us concentrating much on the road, we have water to also take advantage of, and that's what exactly he said. But the fear of some people is Alagbalugo about me, if anything happens, God forbid, how do you know? But he told us that they've provided enough what's it called, life jacket for people, and they're also ensuring that the operators also work in tandem with the laid down rules and procedures. So I urge people, take advantage. We have a lot of jetties and there are standard ferries that can really convey you from island to mainland, from Lagos Island to Ikorodu, from VI to Ikorodu. It should be a smooth journey. It may cost a bit of fortune, maybe around 3,000 or 4,000 naira thereabout. But if you consider the amount of time that you spend in traffic on the road, and you are traveling by sea under 40-45 minutes from Lagos Island, you are already in Ikorodu. So I'm hoping that the government will also live up to that expectation in ensuring that these jetties are provided and there are enough ferry to ferry people across every part of Lagos that they will want to travel to.
Moving away from transportation and of course traffic, let's talk about the entertainment industry, which is big business here in Lagos. How significant is this creative industry to the economy of the state?
It is very significant. If you go on the social media now, so many shows, so many stage
concerts.
I don't want to publicize it.
You've attended it now.
Very nice, and it was even Baba Salah's stage play that took place at the Global Memorial Hall. I was there. Wow. Very nice concept. If you see the stage, if you see those actors and actresses, as we call them, nice performance. So this is a time because they know that people want to relax, people will travel from home to Lagos to come and celebrate the Yuletide with their, and people usually even set aside, they save ahead of December, and that's why people don't really find it difficult to spend per se, because it's just a season that comes once in every year, maybe around 2 or 3, maybe around 1 week or 2 weeks there, but before you also return to work. So people also plan and save ahead, and definitely it is just beginning. Whether I like it or not, it's going to be a highly rated dirty December. Come December, this December in Lagos.
Highly rated.
I'm so optimistic. I'm so optimistic rather about it. It's going to be a very big one. So many shows.
Okay, let's touch on the informal economy, which is also big in Lagos. My question now is: should the government see it as a challenge, a problem, or should the government now embrace it and make it harness and have big impact on its economy?
For instance, we are speaking about a Lagos that has a population of maybe around 20 or 20 million.
They're now saying 25 million, no?
Well, until we conduct the census.
The census,
and,
yeah.
That's another thing we spoke about earlier. We need to be proactive. How can we be speaking for years saying, oh, maybe we are around 200 million, people say we are trying 230? How do we really plan? If you don't know, as a family man, if I don't know the number of my children, how do you really plan for them? So it's like a country doesn't know the number of its people, or the state doesn't know the actual number. It will become extremely difficult for you to really plan accordingly, and to plan particularly for the social amenity needs of these people. So for those in the SMEs or the informal sector, they are the engine room of the economy. Okay. Because, for instance, how many people can the Lagos state government actually provide employment for? We are talking about a population of over 200 million. I'm not too sure if the civil servant in Lagos, I'm not sure they are up to about 1 million. So who cater for the rest of this population that are of employment age? So that means we still fall back on informal sector. So what the government needs to do to catalyze the activities in that sector is to provide conducive environment, allow people to have tax relief or tax rebate, as the case may be. If a company is just
which is already in play which will be in play by January 2026.
Some people are even confused. They don't know what exactly
they don't understand. Yeah.
And I know that the position of federal government is to ensure that the people who earn more pay more rather than people who are earn, because that has been the tradition over the years. That as we used to say rather, the wealthy people used to evade tax, which is a criminal offense. But what this government is doing at this moment is to ensure that as you earn, it's like you pay as you earn. For those who pay less, who earn less, some people are even going to be removed from the tax net because of what you are earning. Whereas you will now be covered by those who earn more. Who earn more will actually pay more, and that's why you can also boost infrastructural development across board. So, but coming back to informal sector, what government needs to do is to sincerely and genuinely provide conducive environment, because they're having it at the back of their mind that they can provide job for the number of people who are even ready to take up the employment. So, if they can provide conducive environment like tax relief or tax rebate, if there are good roads, social amenity, infrastructure put in place, definitely, if I can be able to employ one person, you also employ one. By the time we also employ 1 or 2 or 3 other people, that means we're also reducing the number of economic burden, the number of unemployed people in our community, in our state, and in our country at large.
Okay, just this morning we're talking about power supply, which is a major driver for Lagos, is the backbone of the economy, and it remains unreliable here in Lagos. How much is this costing Lagos State?
Unreliable?
Yes, unreliable. Okay.
It depends on where you live.
I hope you can hear this now.
Sincerely.
Yeah, we had that conversation this morning.
We may be paying to our nose because we were forced to be on band A? Band A. Which was not within our own concept.
Because some people are still not having.
But I'm saying that where I live, in part of Surulere, we do enjoy where I live.
Okay.
That's why I say
where you live.
You cannot generalize in some areas, and I wonder why we're still talking about lack of electricity supply. But what we're also meant to believe is
when
that
states can even generate, are we allowed to generate their own power?
Of
exactly.
Course now, it has even been deregulated.
Yeah.
You and I can also go into that space if you have the money to also be part of the major key players in that industry. You generate and you also distribute. The state government has been given that power. Local government has been given that power. Private sector have also been given that power, and that's why it can also catalyze socio-economic development. But I'm saying that in my area, and I also have interactions sometimes with my colleagues or with my friends, and they're saying that though relatively the power has become stable, but we are paying through our nose. And that's why we are also begging that this ban here, the tariff, they should also bring it down. Because that's how you can also boost socio-economic activity. Because without power, nothing we can do.
Okay, you have light in your area. Some people do not, and you know it is also affecting businesses in that particular area. Let's talk about the environment, and that's on environmental sustainability. It often seems secondary to economic growth here in Lagos. How can these two priorities be reconciled? That's environmental sustainability and economic growth.
In terms of environment,
now that Lagos is coming up with a recycling plant,
waste to wealth for long, and I think it is high time that Lagos state government really practice what they preach as regards this waste to wealth. It's just like when you talk about population. Population should be a blessing, not a curse. Because when you have, just like a state like Lagos, do you know how much of IGR, internal generated revenue, that Lagos state government makes from residents, from people who does businesses across the state? So that means the population is a blessing, not a curse to the state government. So in that regard, population should also be a blessing and not a curse in terms of environmental sanitation or environmental be friendly with our environment. But sadly, we must say it the way it is. And that's why some people at times say government needs to do more to clear. I don't know why we're having refuse in most part of Lagos at this present time. And that doesn't mean that Loma, who has that responsibility, is not doing well, or the Ministry of Environment, but because of the lackadaisical attitude of our people, we need to change our orientation. We need to change our mindset as regards, because if you are not friendly, it's like as Yoruba would say, and that's why sometimes when there is a bit of rain or flood, you will see refuse, you know, on most of our roads, blocking the drainage, blocking the canals, and that's why we do experience flooding. And the same people will be shouting now, forgetting that they are the ones that even use their refuse to block the canal, to block the road. But we must still put the fault at the doorstep of government. If government is not waking up to that responsibility of ensuring that those who commit blunder or those who commit atrocity or those who commit infraction against our environment are punished to serve as deterrence to others, people will continue to believe that I can do it blatantly and I'm going away with it. So government needs to increase on their enforcement. I know they are doing it, but they need to increase on the enforcement. And there's this thing where we also call shame them or something like that. If there are people who have done something so wrong, particularly as regards our collective environment, name and also shame them.
Name and shame them. Anyway, just this morning we heard that Lagos State government has announced plans to establish a $300 million waste recycling plant. So this will also solve all the waste challenges we're having in Lagos.
As they say in Yoruba land, making room. As they used to say it. So even this waste is even money. In some other climate, they make money. You can see people even at most of the dump site. These are just ordinary people making money, but the real waste can be generated into electricity in so many ways. And we see the documentary in some developed societies of this world. So who says Lagos as a mega city can also not do the same? Okay,
let's look at Lagos again, at some of the sectors that should be made priorities. Let's look at What if you were advising the Lagos State government or the Lagos State governor, you know, what would you tell him are the 3 most important priorities that needs to be fixed here in the state?
I'm happy that recently the governor commissioned, was it Ajiyan Water Works or so?
Oh,
but,
yes, that's
it goes beyond just commissioning. We want to open our pipe or tap rather and see water running. When we were growing up, we used to drink water when we were going to school or coming back from school. These are clean water. But nowadays, it's becoming so challenging that we buy water from Mirua or Malams across the city of Lagos. And I know there are plans by government to change this narrative. And I think just about a week ago or so, you know, the governor commissioned a big, giant waterworks. But I don't live in that area. But what we need to do is, after that commissioning, because sometimes you see government commissioning projects and that project is not really serving the purpose in which it was meant for. So there is a need for follow-up to ensure that maybe those who live in that area can now be saying it the way it is, that, oh, Lagos has happened to me. Like we do say, Nigeria has happened to me.
Don't let Nigeria happen to
tell us
you.
Their story. That, oh, now because of this commissioning, we
now have water, pipe water.
And government should also showcase it. Government should also let people know that this is what we have done. And I even should say that government should be proud about it, because many years ago we have been battling with the lack of potable water or drinking water across the Lagos metropolis, which was not the case when we were growing up. And whether you like it or not, when we are talking about healthy living, water, one of the things that we consume on a daily basis, I'm sure water occupies about 60 to 70%, if not more than. So there is nothing we can do for us to stay healthy without water. And this is water we are talking about that is lacking. So if government has really done well as regards the commissioner of this one that I mentioned just about a week ago, they should showcase it more to let people see that truly we have commissioned it and it's working and it's serving the people of Lagos. That's number one. Secondly, the other one is one of the social amenities that's also very important and should be germane to government is having a roof over your head.
Housing.
The housing, because we have a lot of people that are still like destitute, people who live on the streets, under the bridge and the likes. And then fortunately, unfortunately, we still make reference to Alhaji Lateef Jakonde. God bless his soul. I can see the reaction on your face. People still talk about people who still live in these houses that Baba Jakonde constructed many years ago. People still talk about it. You know, so I expect that the government that we have had since 1999, that we have returned to the Fourth Republic, we have done about 26 years of unbroken democratic rule now. But people can still make reference to Baba Jakonde, you know, his government, that in fact, it was during Baba Jakonde that my father or my mom was able to buy a house, and they still live there as we speak right now. So government should focus more on ensuring that they can do mortgage for people. They can do mortgage, and you know, and government should also do this by also constructing more of a high rise, because Lagos doesn't really have space. It's a major challenge when it comes to infrastructural facilities, particularly housing. There is no space. It's surrounded by water. Or I don't know whether they will do some filling, but they should concentrate more on ensuring that they build more of a high rise, and it must come at a cheaper rate for residents. They can do mortgage for 15 or 20 years, because this is government money. It doesn't really mean that you are bringing the 20 or 25 million naira to buy a house. Just where you get money from. But if you can pay about 30 to 40% of the money, and they spread the rest like instrumental, that's what is being done in abroad. And that's why it's so easy for people to move from one-bedroom apartment to two-bedroom, depending on the size or enlargement of your family. So, but in this case, I don't think we can bridge that gap of the housing deficit in Lagos if we continue this trajectory of expecting people to cough out the money. Where is the money?
All the time. So you've not mentioned the third one.
Well,
affordable housing, and then
education is also very, very important.
Education.
Any country that really want to also also, rise his shoulder among the Committee of Nations. They must accord priority to education. All this Western world, the US of this world, the UK, the Canada, the Asian tigers, it is because they focus more, it was deliberate plan. They focus more on education, and by that, they conducted a lot of research. And today, we are all rushing to Dubai, rushing to US, rushing to, as if we don't have brains. We also have brains. It's just for government to collectively bring them together and give them the conducive environment so that we can also tap into, because if you even go abroad, most of the doctors that are even treating Nigerians abroad are even from Nigeria. How come they can't practice such profession in this school? It's part of, we talk about the challenge of brain drain, and it's because of lack of infrastructural facilities and even good welfare. That's why you see our doctors becoming a beautiful bride to so many countries around the world. So it's high time that government should also prioritize. When we talk of education, we also talk about health infrastructure. If they give them good salary, make the environment conducive for them, I'm sure most of them will want to bring out the Nigerian in them and stay back and also provide quality services to the people of the country, rather than making a choice to do this Japa syndrome and saying goodbye to Nigeria for so many years. It's quite unfortunate.
They need to come back with nothing
again.
They need
to come back home and also assist government in restoring the age-long practice of we used to hear that UCH in Ibadan, that people come from abroad to come and receive treatment. But how come that the reverse is the case at the moment? We can still reverse it if government is according priority and they are spending wisely rather than spending money on white elephant projects.
Okay, just before we go, this is for you, just what your own impression. What does it mean for you when they say Lagos State is a successful state?
A Lagos, or a state rather, let me just generalize rather than saying Lagos. A country we say, or a state, or any environment, we will say it is a success story. When that environment, we can see particularly the basic needs of life. Just like we have been saying all along, the basic needs of life, the GDP of that environment is very, very important. How much money does the people have in their pocket to spend? What is the value of that money again? The value, I'm speaking in the general terms now. To say an environment, a country, a state, or even local government is a success story. We talk about how conducive or how easy it is for people to access the medical care. How easy is it for people to send their children, their wards to school? How easy is it for people to commute so easily from one place to the other? Because whether you like it or not, these are the basic elements that must be present before you can say a state, a country, or a local government is successful. So in a case where all those that I've mentioned, good roads, good health institution, education, healthcare delivery, education, there must be schools, proper schools for people, whether primary, secondary, and even tertiary level, for people to attend. And again, in terms of commuting, moving from one place to the other, all these are the basic needs of life that make life so comfortable for us to live. So if they are present, then we can say Lagos is of a success story.
Thank you very much, Taiwo Olakwade, journalist, social affairs commentator, and he's been discussing, or we have been discussing, Lagos as economic melting pot. And he has, made the three sectors very, very, very important. He has talked about potable drinking water. He has talked about education, housing, and he added another one, making four, which is health. So for you to consider a state successful, those have to remain priority at all times. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
We'll go on a short break. When we come back, the conversation continues.